Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to reissue the reminder that has already been offered to you a couple times in our broadcast today, and that is that we are launching our Fall SpiritGroups program. And Spirit Groups is one of the most amazing programs that we have here at Unity on the Bay. The great thing about Spirit Groups is that it happens whether we're able to gather in physical proximity or not. It's all a virtual event this year, and we have groups all over this area that are coming together to study the pages of an incredible book called The Universe Has Your Back. Transform Fear into Faith. What a relevant title, and especially subtitle, for the times in which we find ourselves in right now. This is written by the up-and-coming bright light in the spiritual ambassador world, Gabrielle Bernstein. It's going to be our guidebook on a journey, an adventure that begins today and extends on forward into the weeks to come. I really want to encourage you to consider joining one of these small groups. It's so simple. You can do it right from your own home by the miracle of Zoom technology. It's a way in which, dear friends, we are keeping together. I've been a part of so many Zoom experiences, and no one ever could have convinced me prior to this pandemic that I could actually feel other individuals and unite with them through this technology. But it happens. There's an energy. You can feel it. It's palpable when you're in one of these calls. You will bond with individuals, and every one of us right now needs this bonding, my friends. So I really want to encourage you to visit our website, unityonthebay.org, and consider enrolling in one of these small groups. You're going to make relationships during this critical time in your life that I believe will be a bond well into the future and perhaps the rest of your life. We've had many, many lifelong bonds that have been built through these small groups. And though we're not meeting in person, this Zoom technology is very powerful indeed. So please consider being a part of the journey, not only as we bring these broadcasts to you, but throughout the week in your own personal Spirit group activity. Once upon a time, there was this unusual, if not bizarre, means of travel available to us called the airplane. Do you remember airplanes? Strange contraptions onto which hundreds of people would board themselves into a slender metal tube that was powered by these things called jet engines, and they would actually propel you up off the ground through the skies to a destination of your choice. You know, I'm being facetious here, but it's been so long since I've been on an airplane that I almost forget what it's like. And I'm one who frequently flies back and forth, as you know, to Kansas City to visit my family and sometimes other destinations. So I'm joking with you here, but yet I'm also wanting to use this as an illustration. If you remember the good old airline days, I believe with all my heart that the human family is headed toward a new destination. Just like when you board an aircraft or any other travel vehicle. You do it because you want to go to another destination. You want to go to another place or space. And so it is with the human family right now, even in the midst of what seems to be very troubling times of turmoil and great divisiveness, the likes of which I've never seen in my life before. The itinerary has already been planned, so you don't have to worry about that. Well, more or less, the itinerary has been planned. You might make a decision here, a shift there, but our destination is assured. It is guaranteed by God. And right now in this moment, whether you're actually physically on an airplane or not, you are on board. I am here to tell you. And my question of you thus is, are you ready for takeoff? Are you ready to take off so that you can be accelerated into this new destination which all of humanity is on board to experience? Are you ready to live a life that is free of struggle, depression, hopelessness, and most especially the degradation of yourself and other individuals through condemnatory judgment. Please hear me on this. And personally anymore, I don't think it's possible for us to issue condemnatory judgment onto another person or situation unless we are condemning and judging ourselves. And talk about a fruitless activity. I know it's habitual. We've all been programmed into this to come down on ourselves. And you know, when you're down on yourself, you don't have too many options but to come down on other people, because what you're holding up here is what you're expressing out there. So it's a very important time for us to ask ourselves the question, are we ready for takeoff? Are we ready to abandon the practice of condemnatory judgment of ourselves and of other individuals? It's an important question, and maybe right now you're not ready. Maybe you still feel like you need to hold on to beating yourself up, that you're not living up to some idealistic model that's been created either by yourself or by society or by your mom or your dad or other people. I don't know. So maybe you're not ready to stop beating up on yourself, and maybe you're not ready to stop beating up on other people. You know, that's okay. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. I'm just saying, if you want to lift off, if you want to take off, if you want to accelerate, if you want to arrive at the new destination that I believe the universe has plotted and planned for all of us, it's not helpful to keep on condemning, to keep on judging. Are you ready to stop thinking of yourself and this world as a miserable, unworthy, and broken creation? And you may say, well, I don't think the world is broken. Look again. Are you trying to fix anybody or anything? Because if you are, it's only because you are perceiving them to be broken. And I am here this morning to tell you from my personal experience, you're not broken, I'm not broken, nobody's broken, Faye's not broken, Dale's not broken, the world's not broken, unless you think it is. And of course, if you think it is, according to your thoughts, so it is done unto you, and you're going to be out there all day long trying to fix this, fix that, fix this, fix that. You're not here to be a repairman for the universe. You're here to savor, to enjoy, to sparkle, to shine, to have a good time, to feel like $1 million every morning when you get up. And that is possible if you're willing, and maybe you are and maybe you're not, to surrender this idea that anybody or anything is broken. Are you ready to accept yourself and celebrate yourself and all others as good, sacred, and beautiful? So, you know, I feel pretty good about myself today, but then there's neighbor Joe, or there's who knows who on the television screen in any given moment, especially on the news channels these days. All kinds of people to react to. Have you noticed? And people are reacting in different ways. And everybody thinks their reaction is more justified than anybody else's reaction. And everybody's trying to win people over to react the same way they're reacting. Friends, either our primary premise in unity is true or it's not. Either there's only one presence and there's only one power and it's God and it's good, or that whole thing, throw it out. And I choose not to. I would rather try to align the way I am seeing other people and situations in accord with the recognition that God is present in everyone and everything, and if it doesn't seem that way, it's because that's not what I'm looking for. I would rather hold on to the condemnatory judgment. Fine, I've held on to condemnatory judgments, and of course they still rise up. I'm not immune to them. They still rise up. I just am getting better now at knowing, I'm about ready to walk down the road of condemnatory judgment, and I don't want to go there. I want to see the sacred, holy quality of everybody and everything as often as I can. Are you ready to release anything you currently believe is not in alignment with unconditional peace, love, joy, wholeness, supply, and unity? And again, maybe you're not. Maybe you're still wanting to hold on to some sense of undeservedness, unworthiness, some sense of lack, fear, trepidation. It's okay. We're all going down the path we need to go down, and we're not here to try to dictate to anybody else that their path is not satisfactory for them. I'm talking about your path, my path, right now in this moment. Are you willing to walk down a path in which you find yourself every day releasing anything that isn't in alignment with the perfect accord, the unity, the peace, the love, the joy that is your divine nature? And finally, are you ready to stop living against what you despise and start living for what you believe in? Hear me again on this. Stop living against what you despise and start living for what you believe in. There's a big difference there. When you're living against what you despise, you're against circumstances, against pushing resistance. What you resist will only grow in the field of your awareness, as opposed to simply and powerfully standing for what you believe in. Doesn't matter whether anybody else agrees with you or not. That's not the point. The question is, can you stand in integrity with what you believe in? It's my personal belief that if every one of us can do that, we are going to begin to see shifts taking place in the world. Are you ready for takeoff? And I hope you are, because this plane is ready. You're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing right now. I do not believe it would be possible for you to be in this experience listening to these words if you weren't ready to take off. So check your baggage, literally. Let it go, leave it at the door, and hop on board, because here we go. In the next several weeks, we're going to be taking a trip together. No matter where you are, no matter who you are with or who you are not with, we are together now. I want you to feel my energy as I am feeling your energy while I'm staring into a piece of technological miracle, this little camera. I want you to feel my energy because I'm with you and you're with me, my friends. And if this pandemic doesn't show us anything else, it can show us that nothing can separate us. We're in this together, and we're going to take this journey together. And it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful ride. It'll be even more wonderful if we pay attention to the flight rules. So this morning I have a handful of flight rules for you. Are you ready? Here we go. These are all from the pages of this incredible book and coming through this incredible author that we're going to be studying together. Flight rule number 1. Our happiness, success, and safety can be measured by our genuine capacity to tune into the loving vibration of the universe. What's your capacity? Because this is going to demonstrate how smooth your flight is and how quickly and efficiently and safely you arrive at the destination that all humanity is accompanying you on. You've heard me many times tell the story of the two wolves. A grandfather Cherokee Indian talking to his grandson, and he talks to him about how there's two wolves, and one of them is a wolf of love, and one of them is a wolf of fear, and they're in a constant battle with each other. And the grandson says to the grandfather, which one of these wolves is going to win? And the grandfather says, do you remember what the answer is? Whichever one you feed. Fear, love. Whichever one you feed is going to thrive, is going to win the battle. The battle that you yourself have created in your own mind. Do not feed the wolf that you do not wish to have in your companionship. Do not feed fearful thoughts if you don't want fearful experiences. Don't feed things that you don't want to empower. Feed what you want to have thriving in your life. Feed loving thoughts and become mindful of when you're in the field of fear versus the field of love. Catch fear-based thoughts before they catch you. I'll tell you this little story. I was talking to my daughter on the phone in Kansas City a few weeks ago, and she says, Dad, have you bought your tickets for Christmas? I'm actually planning to go to Kansas City about a week early because my granddaughter will be with her father on Christmas Day. So number one, it'll be the first Christmas Day in 20 years that I won't be with my granddaughters. I'm going early. We're going to be celebrating ahead of the game. And after I finished the call the next morning, I woke up and something just said to me, you need to get your airline ticket, and you need to get it now. So I went online and I got the ticket for the week before Christmas to go visit my family. And you know, this is the first time in 20 years that I haven't seen my family, a single one of them physically, in over a year. And I know that I'm not alone. So I'm really anticipating this trip, and I was excited, went online, got nonstop tickets to Kansas City and back to Fort Lauderdale, and I was excited and it felt really good. And later that day, kind of out of nowhere came this thought, what have you done? Why did you buy that ticket when you are so uncertain about what situations are going to be taking place come Christmas. And sure enough, right then in that moment on the TV comes this report about how this great wave is going to continue it's coming back, and it's going to mix with the fall flu, and it could be the worst situation ever come Christmas. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, that could so disturb something I'm in my heart of hearts looking so much forward to, not to mention the cost of the airline ticket. And fortunately, I think, and I'm not being presumptuous here or arrogant, I just think and I pray, maybe I'm getting to the place where I can go, whoa, 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 which wolf am I feeding? I'm feeding a wolf of fear. What if? Oh no, I shouldn't have, I should have. Why this? Why that? Stop it in its tracks. You don't want to feed that. Back off, back off, back off. It doesn't matter what the future holds. None of us really know that anyway, but holding a thought of fear about the future right now is not going to do me any good at all. So I'm praying that everything is going to unfold perfectly according to the highest will and the highest good for all concerned, whether I'm in Kansas City for Christmas or not, the week before Christmas, but of course I hope and pray that I am. But you see, you've got to catch those thoughts, because even sometimes after you got a thought that is prompted by love, which my purchasing of that ticket was, I wanted to be in the embrace of my family again. I wanted to be there for Christmas. And so I followed the thought of love, but you can start following the thought of love, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. A thought of fear comes in to try to take its place. You've just got to become mindful. Am I coming from a place of fear? Am I feeding the fear wolf or the love wolf? Flight rule number 2. We separate from the love of the universe by giving our purpose to pain, and thinking power comes from outside sources. Now, Gabrielle uses the word separate, and I try not ever to use the word separate, because I don't believe you can ever be separated from the love of the universe. So I would look at that a little differently and say we appear to separate from the love of the universe by giving our purpose to pain, and thinking power comes from outside sources. Friends, we've talked about this over and over again. This is like a rerun of something we've been studying. It's the course of Unity on the Bay, the curriculum of Unity on the Bay for years now. We have been domesticated by lies. Remember when Don Miguel Ruiz visited us along with his wonderful sons on more than one occasion. And they encouraged us to be mindful of human domestication, which is the process whereby false information is given to us, the false information in this case being that my power comes from outside sources, and instead releasing that domesticated belief and accepting the truth of our nature, which is all power comes from within you, from within me, without exception. Flight rule number 3. Synchronicity, guidance, healing, and abundance are all available to us all the time. All we need to do is tune into the energy of the universe so that we can get into the flow with supportive, loving energy. When we're in alignment with this energy, life becomes a happy dream. This is all about, my dear friends, learning to tune your receiver. Think of your mind as being like a radio receiver, and you have the ability to tune this as you choose. And you can tune it to the loving and the positive, or you can turn it to the fearful and the woeful and that which you do not want to experience. So be mindful of what channel you're listening to. Are you listening to the channel of doubt? Are you listening to the channel of deprivation? Are you listening to the channel of unworthiness, or are you listening to the channel, and this is your decision. Remember, nothing is being imposed from outside of you. It's all coming from your own internal makeup, decisions, choices that you yourself have made. Flight rule number 4. Whatever stories you're projecting in your mind are what you're perceiving in your life. I've told you this so many times. And the only reason I tell you so many times, trust me, is because I always am talking to myself. Right now, I'm talking to myself. I pray that I'm listening to these words as they're coming across my lips. The story you tell is the life that you live. The story you tell is the life that you live. The story you tell is the life that you live. The story you tell is the life that you live. What's your storyline? And can you recognize that you and you alone are the author of that storyline? Take it or leave it, but there you go. The story you tell is always the life that you live. Flight rule number 5, I witness that I'm out of alignment with my power. I choose to see peace instead of this. This is, again, just learning to find balance in your life. And the best way to do this is to monitor how you are feeling. When you get up in the morning, how do you feel? And if you feel great, can you recognize that that great feeling is coming from some thought that you are holding within your own mind, and it's reproducing after its kind? Your story is an uplifting story. It's an empowering story. Or if you wake up and you're not feeling so good in the morning, can you discover those thoughts that may be bringing you down, keeping you from flying high, and can you change that storyline by changing the thoughts? Recognize when you're out of alignment by recognizing the way that you feel, and then acknowledge that you have the ability to bring yourself back on track. Now, Gabrielle in the pages of this book gives us a simple formula for understanding how to receive the backing, the support that the universe is trying to offer us in every moment. It begins with this, and this is key. And it's just one word. So it's easy to remember. Ask. You gotta ask for help. You see, you have free will. You can say yay or you can say nay. You have to say yay by asking, by recognizing that the universe has an infinite field of energy and wisdom and insight and inspiration available to you, but it will not come into your field of awareness if you do not ask for it. You gotta ask for it. So just as simple as, I choose to ask that the universe cover my back, that the universe support me. I'm willing. I'm asking. Secondly, practice what Course in Miracles and Gabriella states in the book is the holy instant. And here's what the holy instant is. And you can read A Course in Miracles and you'll get a much deeper understanding of this. But in a simple statement, practicing the holy instant takes place anytime you choose love over fear. And it's a conscious choice you can make. You find yourself in fear, you can choose again. Choose love. Secondly, what she calls a fast comeback. Now, you've heard me in the past talk about saying thank you, God, whenever anything shows up on the screen of your mind. And the reason I encourage that is because the length of time between the time something happens and you actually say thank you, that's your time of suffering. As soon as you can say thank you, you will begin to watch the foreboding situation dissipate. It must, because in saying thank you, you're recognizing the presence of God expressing as a blessing in your life. And this is important because it narrows the gap. You want to have less suffering in your life, then reduce the amount of time it takes you to go from fear into love. And that gap shrinks. And one of the ways to do that is simply by saying, thank you, God. Narrow the gap, recognize the choice that you've made toward fear, and choose again. Next, put out what you want to receive. Basic law of attraction, rule number 1. What you are sending out, energy, vibrations, thoughts, reactions, feelings, what you're sending out is what you're going to get back. Some people call this karma. I just call it a fact of life. Whatever you're sending out to the world is what's going to come back to you, because this world is nothing more or less than a reflection of the content of your own consciousness. Next, create a purpose statement. And this isn't a lengthy goal-setting kind of curriculum here. It's simply, in her case, a suggestion that we make a statement like, I am ready to learn through love. Most of us have decided through our programming, our domestication, to learn through fear. And you can make a decision that you're going to learn through love. You're going to listen to the voice of love. The voice of love is always unlike the voice of fear. It's not loud, it's not invasive, it's always just very quiet, very easy. It always comes from places of relaxation and peace and poise. You can learn to allow that voice to be your teacher as opposed to the voice of fear. And finally, you are the dreamer of your dream. You're the writer of your story, and you are the dreamer of your dream. The most important question I'm going to ask you right now is, what is your dream? I asked you this a few weeks ago when I was talking to you about our friend Pinocchio. What's your dream? What's your wish? Very important, my friends, that all of us become as crystal clear on this as we possibly can right now. What is the vision that you're holding for your own life and the life of humanity right now? There is power when you focus on a vision. You and I, we are born visionaries. We're born to envision that which we see as possibility in our life and then to bring it forth in expression in our world. So it's very important that we get crystal clarity as much as we can on the vision of our life. What can you envision? And climb to the highest height you can climb. Get up in that airplane and sail above the clouds. Take your vision in from that perspective so that it's beautiful and broad and expansive. What's your vision for your own life right now? What's your vision for the life of humanity? You see, according to your vision, it can be and will be done unto you. This is why it's so important that the vision not be one of fear and trepidation as we look toward the future, but one of unlimited possibilities. There are two ways, my friends, that we can make change in this world. There are two ways in which we can show up as an activist in life. And it's very important that we all do stand up for what we believe in and what we envision right now. There are reactionary activists and there are visionary activists. The reactionary activist is looking out here, reacting actively to circumstances as they develop and unfold. Nothing good, nothing bad, nothing right, nothing wrong about any of that. But there's a different way to be an activist. Some would call this the spiritual activist. I gotta take this in for a minute. It's when you do have crystal clarity on what you can conceive to be a vision for the whole human race. And you are so solid in knowing that we're here to acknowledge one another. We're here to not tolerate each other. I have never liked that word. We're here to celebrate each other. And we can do that, my friends. We can celebrate. We can see a world where people are not coming together divisively in opposition, but the moment you meet somebody on the street, you're going, wow, man, you're awesome. I can't believe this. Human judgment. Remember, at the beginning of this conversation that we're having right now, we decided we were not going to be throwing condemnatory judgment out anymore. We're going to celebrate whether we like what we see or not, and we can do that because we're fixed on a vision of peace on earth, goodwill toward all, unlimited possibilities coming forth from even the greatest of challenges. This is the destination I believe with all my heart that humanity is moving toward, my friends, and it is a great honor and a great joy to be able to share, to be on the same flight with you as together we ascend to heights beyond anything we have ever been able to imagine, as together we once and for all give up the ideas of ourselves as not being worthy and instead claim we are the light of the world.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.